Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book. You know what time it is? Man, we're talking to you about Gil and Murder from Married at First Sight, and I have to start by saying I apologize. Audience members that were saying Gil was a certain way. I'm not going to use the word because I don't use that word on this channel, but I got to agree that today I am wrong. On a momentous day, LBB has come out to say, Lin, Maria, I think even Coco was saying it, and whoever else was saying it, I was wrong. I was wrong about Gil. He's showing his mad colors, blood. And we're going to have to read him for filth on this particular episode. But I want to say it again one more time. You're going to hear me say it one more time. I'm not too proud, to admit when I'm wrong. I was wrong. We're going to read him for filth on this episode. If you're new to the channel, do me a favor, like it, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of the uploads. And for those of you who are returnees, you already know what it is, baby. You got the minerals. You got the minerals. Listen, stay hydrated because the streets out there are hot. All right, let's get into the video. I've got my notes ready, okay? Okay, so I'm going to focus on the last part, or the ice skating ring kind of situation or whatever they were doing the skating. I want to focus on that part of the conversation. I want to say this from the very jump. Both Gil and Merla are immovable objects when it comes to this relationship, okay? Listen to what I'm saying here. They're immovable objects when it comes to this relationship. Miller said coming into this relationship, she's not going to change her lifestyle for nobody. That's a movable object. We had Gil, who didn't voice how he felt about his lifestyle, but has actually said he's not impressed by the finer things in life, by money. He's not motivated by it, and he doesn't care to live in a mid-rise, high-rise. He's not changing his lifestyle. So both parties are saying, I'm not changing my lifestyle. Miller's not going to downgrade, and he's not going to what? Suddenly upgrade. He's not going to do that, right? These are both immovable objects. We could ask Gil to try and find a job that will make double his amount of wages, but to do that's very difficult. But he's not going to do that. And we could ask Miller to, come down a little bit, maybe see things differently when it comes to finances. Stop spending maybe as crazy as much as you is. She's not going to do that. And both parties in their right mind have the right, they have the right to say those things. It's not going to make a productive marriage, but they have the right to say those things, right? I'm not going to bash either one of them for having that mindset. Now, here's the phone. My first point is this, I want to say, there is some projection here from Gil, I think, a little bit. He says, the person that you got to now, you're losing that person. And I want to be very, very clear. Sometimes when you haven't got money, your mindset can be very different to people who have got money. Meaning this, if you were poor at one point, but then you get money, your mindset that you think you have while you're poor, you think that's the same mindset you have when you're rich. Now, I'm not saying there shouldn't be a level of humility that you have because you've come from that place. But what I'm saying is you may think that Miller is losing herself, but in real essence, she's just living a lifestyle that you've never lived. So you won't understand the thought process and the mindset behind it. So you're kind of projecting your feelings onto Miller, right? Like she's losing the person she's like. What he said was the person that got you to where you are now, you're losing that person. How do you know that? If you didn't know who she was, what you knew was a financial standpoint, and that's completely different. You don't know what kind of person she was when she was younger. You only know what her financial standpoint was of her family, So in that shape or form, you can't really say, you're losing yourself because you don't have that evidence. From what I'm seeing, I don't think you have that evidence, right? Okay, continue onwards, right? So that happened. And then and then obviously as well, we've got a problem with this relationship, which is that none of the people chose each other. This was a relationship born out of an experiment where they were put together knowing they had two different ideologies when it comes to money. Now, this is the biggest problem with Married at First Sight, okay? It's an experiment. And at this point, we have to start seeing it as they're putting lab rats in a test tube. Because we've got Mila, who has a certain lifestyle and she thinks in a certain way when it comes to money. Gil has a certain lifestyle and thinks a certain way when it comes to money. Both are immovable objects. Why were they put together? Why were they put together? The smoke now needs to come to the experts, because they are ignoring huge factors. Money is one of the biggest reasons why people divorce. Why are we pretending as if it isn't the case? But let's put that aside to smoke the production and smoke the experts another day, because I want to focus on Gil. Okay? I want to focus on Gil. I want to say this. I'm very glad that in this instance, I want to be very glad in this instance, Mila didn't change her perspective on her lifestyle in this instance, because it's absolutely true that she shouldn't have. The person that she's dealing with is not appreciative, right? It's not able to understand. He's getting on her for spending 2-3 grand on shoes, but not realizing she makes that kind of money. So you can't be vexed about that. The equivalence of what she spends is not even equatable to what she makes. Like, listen. Me personally, yeah, I told you guys, I gave some money for some wig. It was quite a lot of money. But when I actually compared it to how much I'm earning, I said, it is what it is, man. It's done. I'll make that money, bro. You see, when you get to a certain place, when you make a certain amount of money, spending a certain amount of money kind of changes. Now, I'm not saying that's what you should always do. Some people keep and retain a certain mindset when they get money. A lot of us don't, because we've never had it. Okay. So, getting onto her for spending the way she's spending. And like I said, this required you to sit down and actually discuss what a budget would look like before you started getting onto her about her spending. Now, you didn't do that. So that's why we're in this situation. And now you're operating from a place of fear. I want to come back to that point. The next point here. Okay. I agree with Gil as to why he was talking to Miller. She does complain a lot. Now, the complaints aren't about him, but it is about everything else around it. And that in itself is still draining. It's still consuming. But she has never complained about Gil. And I have to take that into consideration. Right? She has never complained about Gil. Now, she's only complained on this episode about financial standpoint, that they may see things differently. But even that wasn't necessarily a complaint. It was more of an observation that we see things differently. Gil has, from the very beginning, complained about Mela. Now, listen, some of it is valid. Okay? Some of the complaints were absolutely valid. My biggest problem with Gil is the verbal tirade. It's not negging, because negging is about giving backhanded compliments. He doesn't give backhanded compliments. This is simply a cut down. And it's coming from a place of fear. He cuts Mila down. Do I think he's doing it as a hope to get her to change? Partly, yes. But I think partly also is this is how he operates when he's fearful. And that is disgusting. Let's keep it real, right? Everybody reacts differently in fear. Sometimes in fear, we'll hold our standpoint. Sometimes in fear, we don't want to move. Sometimes in fear, we won't want to do certain things. But if your fear takes you to a place of consistently having to name call, which is you're a brat, you're a spoilt child, you're this, you are in dangerous territory. We are getting onto that you become emotionally abusive. I didn't want to say it, but I'm going to say it. I didn't want to say it, but I got to say it. You are in that bracket. You are now in that bracket, Gil, because it's happened consistently. Right? Now, what made me say this point about the verbal abusive way when he talks about Miller, right? I get it. She complains and, okay, if you say it once, listen, I think you become a bit of a brat and once. But you said it 2 or 3 times now, sir. And then you say princess in a condescending way. You don't say it in a loving way. You say it in a condescending, you're a princess. And you don't say it in a loving way. right? And this has been consistent throughout the whole of the season. I said, I'm going to wait for the pattern. This is a pattern. Now, what really, really threw me off and really made me pissed off, right, was this point here where he said, let me see where he said. I wrote it down. Where he said, obviously, that she's a brat. He said, obviously, after spoiled princess is a brat. I was like, brother, you're acting as if she's hurt you. You're acting as if she's actually hurt you. Now, listen, don't get twisted. I get she wants to stick to her lifestyle, but what has she actually done to hurt you? This is why I'm saying it's verbal abuse, because there's no reasonable reaction to what she's done. She hasn't hurt you, bro, right? She's only said to you that she wants a certain lifestyle, right? Now, don't get twisted. Right? She has said, oh, the gelato wasn't chocolate enough. Oh, this hotel isn't buff enough. But you never pay for gelato. You never pay for the hotel. You haven't paid for anything. So you at this point, you aren't in a position to start saying, this kind of stuff. You haven't provided anything. You haven't gifted her anything for her to now trash it, because you haven't gifted it. It wasn't you. It's provided for you. The dates that you went on, I'm assuming, were also provided for you. So you actually haven't given her anything for her to trash. So this is not a reasonable response. This is not a reasonable response. I get it. He's operating from a place of fear. I hear you. But you're moving into verbal abuse, sir. You venturing into there. You venturing, because now you're name calling and insulting, right? And there's a part where I really want to get the part where I said I wanted to when he said she said, oh, you can't say no to me. And he said, it's easy to say no to you because, beauty fades. What? Your jokes are going way too far now, because now you're trying to break the person's spirit, right? You're really trying to break this person's spirit, right? I get it. You're insecure, but this is one of the things about insecurity. I said this. If you're over secure, what it can make you do, and when you're insecure, what it can make you do. When you're in those positions where you're unbalanced, you begin to make the other person suffer. And he's in a position now where he's making the other person suffer. Sir, listen to me, yeah? Listen to me, right? For you to say it is easy to say no, but that wasn't the part that got me, because I get it was a joke, that part, right? Oh, it's easy to say no. You know what it is. I get that. But then for you to go you paused in your speech, went one step further and said, because you know that beauty fades. What the frick has that got to do with what she just said? You're projecting in that moment, and you're assuming in that moment. What the frick has that got to do with anything? That is absolutely off the rocker. This is dangerous territory I put in my notes, right? Because you like her because she's beautiful, right? And now you're heading into a space where you're now trying to now even trash the very beauty that you've said to her that she's beautiful, and that very thing, you're now trashing it as well. Nah, Cap. Even last week, I spotted part of it when she was talking about her dress, when the schoolgirl's dress. He made some off comment again, and I was just like, okay, he's making an off comment now. He's making an off comment about her again, and I was just like, brother, you're doing it again. Like, the negativity, you're now the instigator of negativity, right? And again, in the group, he did the exact same thing. When they were in the group, he said she said she wouldn't change her way of life, change her way of life. That is selfish way to go into a marriage without knowing the person who you're marrying. I would have blocked, sir. We really said Gil's a chatty patty, right? From earlier in the season, we all said Gil's a chatty patty, and he's got to be very careful what he says in the public eye, because your missus is not there, and now your missus is there. You're now calling her selfish in front of the whole group. We spoke about this, where you're protecting your partner in public spaces. This is not protecting your partner in public spaces, sir. Calling them selfish in front of the whole entire group, especially when you've already built up a narrative by telling them, oh, Mela won't change this way, won't do this, won't do this, in front of the whole group. Right? Not in front of the boys, but in front of the whole group. So now you're calling us selfish in front of we are heading into. I wanted to defend him. I wanted to. And then I was like, bro, what is this? From here to here, you're moving mad. Listen, you guys know me. I've defended Gil from the very beginning. I said he's a unicorn. I said he's all these things. I now have to say this very big point. I apologize. He ain't even close to being a unicorn. Get the freak out of here, coach. That was wrong. And I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong. And I'm sorry. Ladies, I'm sorry. You know, when you're wrong, because, you know, I've been giving the ladies stick all season. All right. Audience members, you know, I'm talking about specific audience members, by the way. Those of you who we've been going back and forth. I've been going back and forth with you personally. Right. But I have to apologize and say, I am sorry. I got it wrong. I got it wrong. Gil's not even close to being. Now, don't get twisted. She has admitted that he's been patient and all those things. But the patience for what? The patience for what? Now I'm asking that real question. What are you really being patient for? Sex? Wanting her to give you love and affection, kisses? And it takes me back to the very first. I made a mention about this, but I never foresaw this coming. Let me be honest with you. I made mention about this, but never foresaw this coming. I said, him and Johnny got a big problem. They want girls to be clingy. Any man that wants a woman to be clingy has got emotional problems. Let me say it out from the outright. And I will never allow this thing to happen again. If someone says they're clingy again, if a man or woman says they're clingy again, we are going to chop them up. Listen, he said on a scale of clinginess, he's a 2. And Johnny was like, I'm a 5 or 7. And we saw what Johnny did, verbal abuse. And now we're seeing Gil following suit now. It's taking a little while, but he's got there. Okay. Now, why? Because he wants women to be clingy. Why? Because you want a woman to be on your hip. You want to be able to have that woman at your get-go, your control. Because when someone's clingy, they're at your mercy. Right? They're at your mercy. I'm disgusted. No, I am. I'm disgusted. And I'm disappointed in myself, first and foremost, for defending him, right? But I'm disgusted more with the fact that this brother, the way you've handled your fear has come out so disgustingly. Now, you know, I don't mind you being frustrated that she won't change her lifestyle, but I do mind the way you're handling it. I don't mind that you feel like she spends too much, but I do mind the way you're handling it. I don't mind the fact that you feel that she complains too much, but I do have a problem with the way you handle it. My whole issue of guilt in this season is how you handle what's being faced towards you. And now you are even now pushing yourself further to even try and trounce this woman. Listen, I'm not saying Miller's perfect. Not even close. But the mere fact, sir, that you're now beginning to even, you know, you're proactive with your insults, and now it's even getting onto her looks. How far are we gonna go? Now, I'm not gonna say he's ever gonna get physical, but I'm saying, how far are you willing to go? How far are you willing to go to break this woman down? What happens when she comes back with a Chanel bag? You gonna strip it out of her hand? Fight her? Tell her that she's ugly for buying a Chanel? Listen, bro, come on. Come on. Come on. Your fear is making you go into verbal? No. We won't accept it. That's abusive. We won't accept it. I don't care if it's your fear. I'm explaining the reason, but I don't care because you can't do that. And you have to learn, Gil. And you have to be better. That's ridiculous. We don't accept that, man. You know what I'm saying? Listen, like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification uploads. Let me know your true thoughts down below. Listen, I've apologized. I understand. We're probably going to, listen, if you're going to get at me in the comments, I understand. Listen, I'm wrong and I'm willing to sit in it for this one. Do you know what I mean? I have to take one L and it's okay. Sometimes you win some and sometimes you lose some. Sometimes you lose some and it's okay. When you're wrong, just admit you're wrong. Man, them. We got to let Gil go, man. We got to cut him loose. We got to cut him loose. Energy. Little black.